What's happening? Joe here, and we're back. This is going to be a solo episode, and this one is extremely visual. So if you're on the audio podcast, just make sure you're over and watching some video. We'll make sure it's all linked up. YouTube. Now, recently, I've been speaking to so many groups and different podcasts and masterminds and all that stuff on this concept of cloning ourselves, cloning yourself. And it's super fascinating, and I want to share the latest and greatest with you and show you the visuals and why we're living in this time right now that it's on the brink of things changing forever. I truly believe that we're living in an age right now that is super exciting. There's some frightening bits as well, but with AI, we now have the ability to completely scale ourselves in ways that we never thought possible before. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. And I have some slides to basically walk us through this whole thing. So you'll see me looking down, but just follow along. This will be great for audio as well. So definitely don't lose if you're driving or don't just turn this off. So, but the big thing here, I want to make sure everyone understands is that you are absolutely the bottleneck. And it's your time, it's your energy, it's your attention, but it's not really what you're thinking. So I'll get to that in a second. But a lot of us are just stuck in this old way of thinking, of doing things manually. So this could be working with clients. It could be working with your team or offering customer support. All this stuff is eating in your time, eating in your profits. There's training, maybe with your team or with your clients as well. There's ways to enhance and scale you so you could do more and better training. How about creating content as well? There's a whole bunch of new ways you can create content, even if it's, I'm not talking about repurposed content, but new forms of content structured in a way that you might not have ever thought about before. We'll talk about that. There's new ways to generate leads, generate sales, and monetize, and essentially just engage and connect with people in more ways. A buddy of mine, Tom Schwab, who will be on this podcast, has been on in the past. He believes we're all one conversation away from something great, something magical to happen, whatever it might be. And that's exactly what we're talking about. I couldn't agree more with him. So when it comes back to that whole bottleneck thing, it's not your lack of effort that is the bottleneck in all of this. I think, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like we're all working harder, or at least thinking harder, or thinking more of these ways that we can do better for ourselves, our families, our clients, our team. And so it's not a lack of effort that's the bottleneck. It's actually the knowledge that we have. We haven't been able to spread our knowledge in a way that can now connect and engage and honestly change the lives of people around us because we haven't set up the systems to do it properly. And if you're watching the visuals right now, I'll kind of talk through this, but the idea is that you have your mind. And your mind has allowed you to produce things in so many different forms. We don't always choose to put them out in the public. Like we're not always putting things out in a podcast like this or on a YouTube channel or going on other people's podcasts. You might not even be posting on social media accounts like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Those are all public areas that we're posting. But maybe you have some other, you have diaries that you're recording somewhere, even if they're written, that's technically recorded, if you wrote it down. Maybe you have different training manuals, SOPs and things that you've shared with your team. You have all these documents that maybe people aren't necessarily reading, maybe not even yourself, they're not getting updated. Possibly the emails, Zoom conversations, what you've published on the web, on your website, maybe in your members area to your client, your private area. All this stuff is source. It started with your mind, or maybe with a few minds, collective minds, your team or mentors around you. And then you choose to somehow bring it out into the world. And that's what I'm talking about. So the bottleneck right now that all of us are facing, even if you don't think you are a creator or a person who is putting stuff out in the web, but you're using your mind to make things happen in the world, that's basically everybody, right? That's being human. Then the bottleneck that you're facing is this knowledge bottleneck. And that's what we're going to talk about. So I want you to ask yourself, where is your time going, and being like ruthless. And Dan Martell, he was on the show months back. He talked a lot about this. James Schramko is another guy, a good friend of mine from years past. He's been on podcast episodes that I've had on here many times. He talks about his time and where's your attention going, energy, because all of that, that energy is flowing exactly where you're putting your attention, and your time is the finite resource out there. We get to expand that. And I believe that we're living in an awesome time right now where we can do this with what I'm about to show you with this whole cloning concept and how you can expand your knowledge. So imagine this, like with this new technology that I'm talking with you today about, uh, being a coach, you can be more connected to people that you're coaching. You can now personalize to one to many rather than one to many and just talking at people. Now you can actually engage with them. Your marketing can now be tuned up into your own voice and how you speak, and that's how you can create better marketing assets. You can have better training internally into your team. So, your team is getting questions answered instantly, and it's catered to exactly what they're looking for and who they are. It's not just a general answer. And podcasting, so like what I'm doing right now and also on YouTube, this is why I found this technology almost 3 years ago, was exactly this. I wanted to make my podcast a two-way conversation. I didn't want to just talk at people. And even if it was a guest, I didn't want to just know that this is just a conversation between a guest and me, but I wanted to open this up to people who are listening and watching all around the world, no matter what language you might be speaking, what time zone you're in, if you like to text chat, if you like to voice chat. I mean, there's so many ways that we can expand the thoughts and the ideas that I'm putting out into the world, but also you as well. So people can actually chat with this version of you while you're sleeping. So you probably know who I am. My name is Joe Fier, of course, and I've co-founded a company called AI Build Team, and that's what we do. Is we actually build out AI clones, and it's using the technology platform called Delphi.ai. I was the first user of Delphi almost 3 years ago. Since then, have been working on a ton of clones, nearly 300 clones we built now for some of the top CEOs, coaches, experts, creators, educators in the world are choosing to clone themselves. And we also head up the build team for Delphi.ai. So it's really, really fascinating in this time. And I kind of already talked about this a little bit, but how I found this cloning technology came from me wanting to make this, what you're watching and listening to right now, a dynamic two-way conversation. So with the millions of downloads and people who have listened to this podcast over the years, I wanted to give people an opportunity to tap into the knowledge that has been on these, some like 700 episodes. I actually kind of lost count. And now there's this massive library that anybody can tap into. You can as well. And I'll give you some ways to do this if you haven't tried it already. But, now people can have this human-like conversation with my AI clone. And it's not a dumb bot or a chat bot kind of, question answer. It actually has personality. So about 3 years ago, I was testing 20 of these, and I realized that most of them don't have the personality that I was looking for. And if you want to test out what my AI clone is, and it's trained on something like 15 million different words over the years, and it's always updated, you can actually scan this right now. You can also go to hustleandflowchart.com/audit, AUDIT, hustleandflowchart.com/audit. And I'll tell you what that audit thing means. But on that page, you will see my clone, my AI clone, and you can actually interact with it right now. So it's really awesome. But let's define what the heck a clone even is, because most people don't grasp what this technology is yet. Even though I feel like in 2026, my prediction is that everybody is going to start thinking of, oh, I should actually clone myself because I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere to everyone. And with the tech now, I can use this cloning technology to actually expand my time so I connect with more people and also save time and do more things that I enjoy. So just keep that in your mind. But an AI clone. So Clones come in a couple variations right now, and the term clone, digital mind, is sometimes used as well, or a replica, a replica of you, just in a digital form. It's kind of a long way to say it, but think of it as a digital mind that's always available. It's based on your content. It has your speaking style in mind, and you get to define its purpose. And it can have different flavors of its purpose for different use cases. We'll talk about it, but it's accessible 24/7 across the web. It could be embedded different places. It could speak 50 plus different languages and even more all the time. It's text, audio, and there's so many other things that are coming as well. You can have SMS, WhatsApp, Slack, all these integrations to your CRM. It's trained on stuff that you put into it, and it's private to you. You have control. We're not talking about ChatGPT. We're talking about something that you actually have the keys to and can control. So if you start to think about this, and if you're looking at this visual, I'll describe it. One conversation or one chat can actually power so many different parts of your business or what you do in your life. So the four buckets that typically are how we clone people, which is interesting to say, is like, I clone people. And it's true. But like, just imagine a conversation begins and different things can happen. So on one arm of this, like if you imagine the conversation's in the middle, and then if you branch off into one arm of it, you can have public style conversations that live on your website. And, that's for the public to see. That can help you capture leads. It's a new way to generate new leads. There could be another arm of that that goes to private. So let's say you have your clients, the people that are paying you money, or they've joined some private community. That can guide clients to be almost like a companion or an accountability buddy. Have them do more of the thing that you want them to do, that they're paying you for, to get some kind of result and value. So you have the private side. Then there's another arm that could be internal. So that could support your team, you and your team, to do their best work so they're not having to come to you for every question all the time, or the same question all the time. You could also have another arm that's a personal version of the clone just for you. So let's say you want to develop some of your ideas and you want kind of a sounding board. You want it to maybe analyze how you're thinking, maybe some of your previous work. It could bring it to life in a new form, that you give it some new thoughts, but it's based on your content. Just remember that, like, all these conversations are based on what you provided. And that's what's really powerful. Now, there is a distinction because clones, like I said, come in different forms. There's a clone that you probably see more often, which are things on like TikTok, Instagram, social media, and those might be a video clone. So things like, if you think about Heijin or Synthesia, and there's all these other platforms out there that allow you to clone yourself, like meaning your face, or maybe it's just your audio, like 11 Labs. Those are scripted. So just think about it this way. There's scripted clones and there's unscripted clones. Scripted clones are things where literally you're loading up a script and then having it render this version of you. It could be audio, video, text. What we're talking about here, and what I'm really more pumped up about, and actually something that can really scale you, are the unscripted clones. Those are the ones that I'm talking about here, like the Delphi platform, that allow you to load up a knowledge base, a body of work, your intellectual property, in a way that it now knows your personality, how you write and speak. So when people interact with it, they actually get a personalized, dynamic conversation that is unique every single time. So it's not scripted, and there's not someone behind the scenes. You're not having to have a response for every little thing. You basically tune it up, and then it's out there flying on the web, available to all. So that's what's so powerful. That's what, again, you can scan this code and actually experience it yourself if you're looking at it. If not, just pause really fast, open your browser, and go to hustleandflowchart.com/audit. And you will see on there is a way, if you want to get a free audit from me and my team, we actually have a way to give you a great map and a picture, and we'll walk you through how you can use cloning in your business. So either scan the QR code to go get that right now and play with the clone, or you can go to hustleandflowchart.com/audit. All right, moving on. So we built over 300 of these things, and I tell you, the demand is hot. When people understand what this thing is it's kind of wild. So the faces that you see on here, some of the folks that we've had a hand in creating their clones, and we're talking Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's Gary Brecka, there's Gabby Bernstein, and a whole bunch of other authors and experts and celebs and all these awesome people that are seeing the power of expanding themselves. Now, I will say you do not need to be a celebrity to harness this technology. I think that's one big thing is we've had so many service providers. I mean, I'm even like literally home improvement people are running janitor businesses have used this and love it because it expands what they're doing with their team and their clients as well. So don't think that you need to be some prolific author or celebrity or creator to actually make this work. You can literally just have like a blog or some writing that's not even published online, and it will help you scale yourself. Trust me. So Cody Sanchez, this is one that was developed on Delphi. You can see it lives in apps. It can actually be embedded everywhere. It can send text messages. This is my buddy Greg Merrilees. He was actually on the podcast, and we talked about it as well. So go check out Greg. He's using it at studio1design.com as a lead generation device, and it's great. It helps audit people's websites. Gabby Bernstein, she just released it recently within her app, and actually she's been like blowing minds left and right, including her own. There's even a clip of her recently. Maybe we'll find that and drop it in here, where it shows her on stage actually showing off her Delphi in real time to like 1,200 people, and it was talking to the audience and talking to everyone, and it was phenomenal. And Gabby was awesome and blown away. She's also been on the podcast back in the day. I'm going to try to get her back on to talk about this. This guy Sean here is in the real estate business. He's using it to help get him more clients and stuff in the Airbnb market. Lewis Howes is using it to expand what he's doing with podcasting and his stuff. So again, tons of uses for a clone, and I think this, if you're watching this, this frame right here on screen is kind of like the aha moment that people typically have is how do I use a clone in my business? Because one clone can have a whole ton of uses. And again, it's like the 4 quadrants I talked about. You have the public facing. You have something that can be embedded on your website publicly that can act as you, but available 24/7, trained on all your stuff. So it can answer questions. It can help people kind of guide them closer to the other stuff you have to offer. So you can capture them as a lead. You can have it answer FAQs. It can educate and lead them to whatever the next step is in your customer journey. You can have a members or a client section that's kind of like the private side of things where it can help answer questions about your programs. If you're already selling something as an educator online or a coach or a consultant or anything that where you have like a private group that you want to give them a different experience that's not public, that lives within this gated area. So it can live in your members area. There's people that embed this into their Kajabi platforms, their ClickFunnels platforms, their Mighty Networks, School, Circle. It can all live inside of these places, and then it can be trained on just that content that's private and secure. So it's embeddable there. Just imagine what it can do. It could boost, we've seen it boost retention within those groups. That means dropping churn. It increases engagement and people just being completely floored in the fact that they have a companion now that sounds like you and me, like whoever's managing that group or running that thing. But it also takes the pressure off of you or your team who might be managing that community, because now there is a resource that people can go to get their answers really quickly. And honestly, it just takes the pressure off of everyone. People love it. The internal team side of things, like I said, you can put your SOPs in there, your trainings, all that stuff can be updated in real time too, whenever you have some new stuff that's developed, and then it's available to your team 24/7. So they're not going to you asking you again, oh, how do I do this thing? Or if you have a new hire on your team, you can actually have them go through your clone for their initial training, and then, even have it assess them if you wish to. There's so many cool things. I mean, you can get very creative, but the idea is to reduce any of that repetitive nature and and reduce inconsistencies as well. So now that your clone actually has your back and will start training people and giving the best resources to your team. And then the last one, is one of my favorite, is a personal private version of a clone that I could literally take it around on walks. I'll talk to myself, and I do it all the time anyway. So I might as well talk to my clone and actually get feedback based on how I want it to speak to me. So I actually program mine in a way that holds me up to a higher standard. So it actually tells me if I'm not thinking too clearly, or, hey, Joe, I think you have a better idea if you went this route. It actually has my best intentions there. That's how I programmed it. And all these things basically can be programmed in different ways. That's what we do, my company and I. So just imagine, like, with each one of these public facing members, internal and private, they all have these different rules that have it interact differently depending on who's engaging with it. And sometimes you can also gate content in different ways as well. So here's another aha is that one chat can do so much. So I'm just going to kind of open your mind even more so, crack that open even more, and show you how a conversation can also lead to an action. So something to happen. It could be as much as like, I won't say an agent because that's where, you can get really crazy. If you know about AI agents, you could do a ton. But what I'm talking about is you as a person. So you are not a robot, but at the same time, we want to expand your knowledge and have it help others. So there's through that course of conversation, a single chat can trigger things to happen, different automations. Now, Delphi can do a ton. Delphi is not an agent platform per se. I wouldn't view it like that, but keep in mind, Delphi could be hooked to other automations where other things can happen. So it's all about getting creative and understanding what's possible now. And hopefully you are watching this part because there's a really cool visual that kind of shows almost like a funnel. So if you were to imagine a conversation funnel, yeah, it's just like a funnel like you're probably used to online. As digital marketers, we have used funnels for years now to take people from like a free thing to some kind of low ticket offer, maybe to a bigger offer, maybe an upsell. That's kind of like a funnel. Now, you could do that through conversation. So it's kind of a conversation funnel. I'll just stamp that right now. TM, conversation funnel. Joe Fier said it. I don't really care. But the visual here that you're looking at, if you are, and I'll describe it, is on the left side of the small part of the funnel, you have someone engaging with your clone. So the platform, i.e. Delphi, can identify who that user is. And based on where they're engaging with this thing and who they are, it will give them access and speak to them in a certain way. So it just depends on where the Delphi is embedded. The clone, it could be on the public side, it could be on the private area, it could be in your team member area, it could be just you engaging with it. The Delphi or the clone platform is going to know who you are because based on tagging and membership access and all that stuff. It's kind of like a CRM in itself, if you can picture that. So it identifies a user. And then based on the engagement that that person is having, because they're going to be spoken to by the clone in a different way, depending on who they are, now it's going to deliver kind of this unique experience. So people in the middle of this funnel now, as we're widening the funnel, it's going to give them some different ways to get more value from the conversation. If it's on the public facing side, maybe it'll lead them to some offers or some new other resources that they can explore before they take a leap into something bigger, which might be a program or a coaching, a consulting session, whatever it might be, a free something else, to keep them engaged further. But then let's say on the member side of things, in that engagement area, maybe it leads them to like within the program, it leads them to a module that they need to go and study a little further, or maybe to the next one. Maybe they completed one and now it says, okay, well, seems like you're pretty solid on module 1 or module 2. Why don't you go jump up to this next one about these topics? So it kind of becomes a guide, if you will. Now, based on whatever they're doing within the interactions, things can happen. So automations or triggers, things can be triggered essentially for something to happen, an action or an automation. It's kind of interchangeable. So a few of these automations that can happen, I'll just list them out now. You can have reminders sent to people. So let's say they talked about something in a chat. Well, maybe you want to remind them the next day or a week from now and say, hey, you talked about this thing over here you really wanted to do. You wanted to create this YouTube video, for instance, on this topic, and you were talking about all this stuff. Did you take action? And you could literally send a reminder in an email. You can send it in WhatsApp or SMS. Um, those types of reminders almost it holds people accountable now. So your clone becomes an accountability buddy, and it's now creating this kind of engagement flywheel, if you will, kind of like that. So all these automations, these triggers and actions can be set up inside of Delphi and the platform. You can also have it help you book calls for you. So if someone expresses interest into some program that you might say, maybe they name it, or they say they want to talk to a human or get a free audit or whatever it might be, then it could trigger a scheduling link to show up. And then of course you can have reminders if they didn't book or if they did, thank yous, all that stuff can be done. You could have different alerts set up. So if people are talking about different topics or programs or things that you want to be notified about or your team, you could set up alerts and make sure that someone, a human, is in the loop. You can send people summaries. So let's say they had a conversation about whatever it might be. Maybe it's one of your clients in the program, your coaching program. They're talking about something. Well, when that conversation ends, you can actually have it summarize the conversation and sent to that person. And then it can give them a synopsis of what they just chatted about. So it's not just like a chat and then it's poof, it's gone. I'm sure you've done that in ChatGPT, for instance. So in this case, you can have a summary sent to someone and say, hey, this is what we chatted about. And maybe even put a call to action in there. Like, hey, here's your next step. Go do this. This is what we recommend, like a recommended next step. So sending call to actions, that's another example, CTAs. You could send call to actions based on what people are saying. Again, it's a conversation funnel now. So it's super dynamic, it's custom, it's not pushy because it's all about what people are talking about. You can send insights, based on what people are talking about. Maybe send them an insight into something else that they should be checking out or asking about. So that's, if you just imagine again, things happen when conversations happen. That's, long story short, it's almost infinite of the possibilities. So, kind of beating this down a little bit more, public facing, just so you totally see it, that's there. Those public versions of a clone can live in the places that you do your marketing or your sales, stuff in the public. It helps you capture and qualify leads instantly because with more engagement, the more qualified people you will have to actually want to do stuff with you, whatever that might look like. And that could trigger your CRM. So these hook up to your existing CRMs. Maybe it's Go High Level, HubSpot, Salesforce, Kit, Aweber, whatever it might be. You can hook up all this stuff and then make sure that people going through the clone are also could be followed up with your existing systems because this is a bolt-on to everything. So it helps you automatically follow up. On the private side, in this clone, it can be programmed in a way that helps your members and supports what you're doing in your coaching and your programs. So it can help unlock different parts of your program that might be static in videos and in your maybe live coaching calls, whatever, however you're delivering your training. Now you have this bolt-on 24/7 version of you that can live right in there. And then that helps people engage. It can send them recaps, be the accountability partner, and help you reduce churn. And it also gives you an opportunity to maybe bonus in or even upsell people into a new version of you, which is this AI clone. We talked about the internal team as another use case of this. So it can be programmed to help your operations and your training with your team and helping support everybody there. Same with your personal side of things. Again, my favorite, it's your own personal clone that you can talk with, and that can help you reflect on any kind of thoughts you might have. It can tell you some suggested next actions. It can also be your accountability buddy, which is what I actually have mine set up to do, is remind me at different intervals throughout the week to do things because it's based off of what I said I wanted to do. Way better than something like ChatGPT can do. Which this slide here, this frame kind of describes the difference. And this might be what's been in your mind is like, hey, I could just use custom GPTs for all this. Well, no. I mean, you can generally you can do that, but it's a very general type of AI. It's trained on the whole web. Whereas your own digital clone and using the Delphi platform is a true digital twin to you. It's whatever you put into it is what it's going to read. It's not going to go hallucinate and make some stuff up. It's literally based on the content and the rules that you give it, and it's private. So ChatGPT, you can't do the embedded and the full-on integrations like we've been talking about here and describing. You can do that with Delphi and the cloning softwares where it helps connect to all your media, keeps it up to date with RSS feeds and other syncing features. ChatGPT, I would say it's like a general Swiss Army knife kind of tool. It's there, it's easy to get started, and it's a great way to start scaling yourself and get your mind working. If you haven't done it, I definitely urge you go make a GPT for yourself and see how you can customize it. But it's going to take a lot of effort, and you got to know what you're doing with prompting and getting it to speak like you. I mean, like, sure, you could do it, but literally Delphi is made for this, and it's added with so much more where you are in control of all of the things that you want it to do. I mean, literally you have full control. So that's the big difference there. Creating content. So know it or not, my team and I are using my Delphi all the time to enhance the content that I'm creating as a human, like this one here. But social media posts and all these different things can be created now with my Delphi because it knows my content. So I can have it turn this into a post, a long form piece of content now can be created in a whole bunch of different ways. We can use it to create different captions and all these different, hashtags, even though hashtags I think are kind of out. It can help you create emails and newsletters and all these different things that are engaging really quickly because it's speaking in our voices. It can repurpose blog posts or podcasts like I have here, YouTube videos. So many different things. It can help you develop video scripts or future things, even books, the outlining a book. I would not say just, hey, have AI write books for you. I definitely, certainly, wholeheartedly think that you should have a massive effort in that. But you can sure as heck use Delphi or a clone to help extract the outline of this book and maybe even do a first draft so it gets your wheels spinning, because it'll definitely get you thinking of things that you probably haven't thought of. But it's based, again, on your knowledge. So it's not just making stuff up from other people. It's actually based on your knowledge, and you can have it structured into this different media that's brand new. I see AI cloning and this digital twin technology as the newest form of media that we have access to. And, with AI developing, this platform I know will develop even further in this concept of AI cloning. I'm sure there'll be other things that pop up, but I'm telling you, there's not been any other platform outside of Delphi that I've seen do what I'm talking about here in a way that's so quick for you to jump in and have control of your own IP, and for literally having the ability to do what you want and scale yourself. It's you on 24/7, scaling your expertise. You can help it automate things like those triggers and actions I talked about, and have reminders in these different accountability things pop up for people that would take a ton of manual effort before. And now you can get this up really quickly. And this is how we help people. And literally we're getting some of these clones up in 7 days. Like, you can't build a system yourself and actually have it solid and functioning properly in 7 days unless you're a total magician or tech guy in the weeds or gal, and your stuff. Most people are not like that. So we don't want to make this a super overwhelming endeavor. When it comes to this, we have the plan. We've done it for over 300 of these, and we have a lot more queued up now. So we're crazy booked up. It's wild, but at the same time, this is how we see media shaping up, is using this type of technology. This is how you scale smarter without burning out. So you're reaching people literally in all parts of the world, because it could speak anything. It stays personal, and it's you. So looking at this kind of final map here, this is how we go about things and help people, is that we try to pinpoint, okay, what are the things that people want to scale in themselves? Like, where's your time, your energy, and your attention going? It's kind of how we started this whole thing. So when we work with folks, we help them identify what these gaps are, because they probably have some kind of vision of how they want to scale. But this really pinpointing what are these inefficiencies in your day to day right now that are bogging you down, your resources. So let's fix that first. And it's usually in some of those, those four different use cases we talked about: the public, the private or the members area, the internal, or the actual personal clone where you're talking to it. So pinpointing the gaps. And then we get into, okay, so what is the material? Like, what do we need content wise, IP wise, training wise for us to clone your genius? So knowing that we have these gaps to fill, the purpose of like, why are we cloning you? Let's figure out what we need to clone you in terms of the material. And then we really want to figure out, well, as we're doing the cloning process, we want to understand how we want it to interact with people. Like, depending on where it's going to live, how is it going to speak with people? What's the motivation? What would make this an exceptional experience that someone will have this wow factor from day one? And then, as the clone owner or the person behind the scenes, this thing is an awesome representation of you. And then, of course, then we get into, okay, what are the things that we can automate and have triggered when someone is having a conversation? So, like, do we want it to follow up at X time points? Do we want to send an email or a text message or whatever it might be based on the chats that they're having? What alerts do we want to have set up? And then there's so many ways we could start to optimize and scale this. So, as a marketer, as you know, I've been doing digital marketing for nearly 20 years now, and I've worked with so many different fields and niches. So we're always thinking, okay, best practices from all the other clones we've also built. How do we continue to optimize this as we continue and scale? Because you'll certainly find more gaps that you want to pinpoint. So it's like this cycle that happens where, when you build one of these things out, maybe for your public facing clone, well, then you realize, man, I'd really like one for my clients, and I would love to solve that gap or that bottleneck. So then we kind of go through the process and do this again. And again, we get these things out in 7 days. It is pretty epic. I want you to go check out my clone to try it out. I have a QR code on screen. If you see this, scan it. I urge you to do it with your phone right now or however you can scan this thing. Go test out my clone. And if you don't have this, just pause this, go to your browser, type in hustleandflowchart.com/audit, AUDIT, hustleandflowchart.com/audit. And what you'll see on that page, 2 columns, you're going to see my clone on the left side. So maybe that's this side as you're watching me. I don't know, either way. The other column is going to have a way to book a time with us to get an audit for yourself. It's totally free. This is something we normally charge for, a couple grand on the website. But if you're watching this and you're on that page, you can book a time and get your audit for free. Basically, you'll plug in it's like 4 or 5 little bits of information. It's not much. It takes like 30 seconds to do. Based on that information, we're able to actually come up with a really in-depth map on how you can use AI cloning for your business. And I think this will help you really see what's possible. And I guarantee you that 2026 is going to be the year where you're going to start seeing a lot more of these pop up. And I'm not just talking about all the creators of the celebrities, because they will certainly probably jump on it quickly if they're the fast actor, early adopter type. But if you're still here, you got to try this thing out. I promise you, you will want to be early on this. And we're in this kind of gap right now where this is in stealth mode. This platform, this whole technology has not been talked about a lot yet. So I've dedicated so much time to this right now. And I made a whole company around this with AI Build Team with my partner, Scott. And we have an awesome team as well. You probably saw Scott Duffy on my podcast from previous episodes. Definitely go peek at that if you haven't watched it. But we would love to chat with you. Again, hustleandflowchart.com/audit. Scan the code. I'm going to be here talking more about how to scale yourself. I'm not always going to be talking about Delphi and the cloning platform per se. We'll talk a lot about it because it's super interesting and timely. But you'll see more from me in future episodes and YouTube videos talking about how to scale yourself and ourselves with the use of AI technology, but also there's other things I have up my sleeve on, even on like I've been doing some wild, and it sounds totally different, but like things with longevity and biohacking and toxin removal. Like I've been doing some wild things that help expand my time there because I'm genuinely feeling better. So with more time, we're going to want to make sure we're living a great life all in the same regard. I mean, like we need to feel good. If we know we're going to be around for longer, technology is just evolving like crazy and we don't know where AI is going and we honestly don't have control over it. But what I choose to do is be in the middle of, okay, how do I take control of what I can control? And that's my knowledge and scaling what I can do, with the content I'm putting out there, but also for myself. I want to feel good. I want to be good. I want to be around my family and friends and be connected as the world goes on. And as things get more in that automation phase, I think it's a time to reinvent ourselves. So cloning is one of that part of that puzzle. And then there's so much more that I get to chat with. I'm also working on a book I'll share with you soon called You Scaled. So that's coming out very soon. I think that'll be the title. Lots of fun stuff going. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. You can always get me over at joe@hustleandflowchart.com. Hopefully I don't get flooded by that, but hopefully I do. And it might take a moment to get back to you, but I will get back to everyone. Thank you so much. Appreciate you watching and hope that we get to be chatting soon. Get your audit. Go check out Cloned AI Joe and get yourself cloned too. All right. Peace.